Hey everybody, welcome to Cultured. It's your homegirl, it's your host, Bromley. Today we have a very special guest with us, and today we're going to talk about culture shocks. So stay tuned. Let's get to it. So like I said, guys, today I have a special guest with me, and her name is Margarita Paskaleva. Say hi.
Hello.
She's also known as Maggie. Everybody here knows her as Maggie. And she was saying that if I, say Margarita, nobody would know who that is. Is that true?
True. Definitely.
Yeah. And so Maggie and I met like a year ago.
Yep.
And I think one of the first things I noticed about Maggie was she was just, her dressing is just out of this world. Like, when you first look at you look at someone and be like, man, that is what I want. Like, how the way she's so classy and like she puts everything together in such like, in a beautiful way. Yeah. So that's what I noticed about you.
The best part, I think, is that I buy everything on sale.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's the secret.
Yeah, Indians are loving it right now. Indians are like, and also she's a girl of many, many talents. I think we're gonna break that down in a little bit, but I know her because like I said before, guys, like I go to this church called Zoe, and she takes pictures. She takes photographs at the church, and you learn filming, right? Filming and photography.
Did I learn it at university or? No.
Or like...
No, just by myself.
Wow.
Film, no, but photography.
So self-taught.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Saying that her pictures are incredible is an understatement.
So sweet.
Yeah. But so like I said, we're going to talk about culture shock. So when Maggie was 18, Maggie went to the UK. So she was raised here in Bulgaria. She's a Bulgarian, by the way, guys. And so we're going to talk a little bit about her experience of what it was like in UK.
In the UK.
So I wanted to ask you to start off, like, being raised as a Bulgarian, how did that affect your life in the UK? Like when you went there for the first time?
Well, I think that being raised as a Bulgarian is a very interesting statement because I think, especially when you're younger, the biggest effect on you, it has the people that you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. So it's not that much your family, but the people that you surround yourself with. So, my teenage years and part of my childhood, I spent dancing every single day, rehearsals, then performances. Wow. So dancing was my life. And actually that kind of is connected to the reason that I moved to the UK because at such a young age, I was exposed to a world of entertainment that wasn't really the best for young adults. So I was exposed to a lot of... I was being very sexualized as a young girl because obviously a lot of the hip-hop dances are a bit more that...
Yeah.
Yeah. And, also a lot of course, performances and stuff. A lot of people take drugs and alcohol. And I was quiet. Like, I didn't feel like I belonged to that community anymore because when we were younger, it wasn't that much of we didn't really notice it. Okay. But after a time, my friends started doing it and I was like, I'm not really comfortable with that anymore. And I decided to move to the most royal and classy place on earth, aka the UK, which we all know it's not really true, but I didn't know that at the time. So I went to the UK with these huge expectations and my dream broke down to a million pieces second.
I wanted to ask, so you went to the UK to was it to do university or?
Yeah, to study. Okay. So I decided to go to university there. And the first week, I don't know if they have in Bulgaria, if there is Freshers Week. I think there is.
Oh, I think in my university there wasn't. There was just a day, but I think in the other university there was there's a freshers. Yeah, okay. It's more like a day than a week.
Is it very a lot of partying and stuff?
Oh, because at my uni there was nothing. I don't know. I think maybe at the other uni it was. Maybe there was parties. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, in the UK, it's a lot of
I'm
partying,
sure.
like every single night. And I remember walking, like opening my door from at my student halls, and there were literally people puking in the halls and falling asleep on the floor.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. So that was a big culture shock, I'd say. Not exactly towards like British culture, because again, that's not British culture. It's just university culture. The same way that in Bulgaria, I was surrounded by entertainment culture and hip hop culture, not Bulgarian culture. So I think that within a culture, there are many more microcultures that actually have bigger effect on us than the actual nationality or whatever.
Wow. You know, like, for me, it's just, so you said, just to go back to your dance. So you did ballet.
Yeah.
So what kind of dances did you do?
So first I did ballet, then I moved to gymnastics. Then, fun fact, I fell off a garage and I broke my head, and my mom was like, no gymnastics anymore, even though it wasn't related to gymnastics at all, but she was really scared. And then I transferred to hip hop and commercial dance.
You fell off a garage?
That's a long story.
Oh, wow. Okay. Maybe for a different time. Maybe we'll do a segment on crazy stories.
Yeah.
Bring you in for that. So you said you went to university in the UK and all these things happened. And like, what was your life? Okay. Let me put it in a different way. Like, how did your life transition during that period? Like, did it, by the end of those four years that you were there, was it a good ending, or do you know?
Yeah, well, in the first year, a lot changed. So it took me a couple of months to like get very serious depression. Like I felt the loneliest that I've ever felt. And then suddenly I saw this photographer that I followed on Instagram post about Hillsong London. And I was like, ooh, what's that? Everyone looked so smiley and so nice. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go check it out.
Wow.
And then I met Jesus. And that
awesome.
That took a turn. But that changed everything. I got plugged into Hillsong London. I started serving on team. And suddenly I was surrounded by this culture that had so many different cultures within it, because Hillsong is a very international church. Like there were, in my media team that I served, there were people from Australia, from Pakistan, from the US, from Bulgaria, obviously, and many other countries.
Wow.
But the thing that surprised me was that it doesn't matter like where you're coming from, when your core values are the same and you believe in the same thing, like it doesn't, like the little things that differentiate you, they don't matter. Wow. Even though at university after that I had like a little wake up call that suddenly I left university. I didn't go out with anyone from university. I was like, that's not okay. I need to start building friendships again with those people at university, even though they're different, even though they have different interests in me. I need to go and show them that maybe it's not a good idea to get drunk every night, but they do them. I don't judge, but it's just there are other ways of having fun as well. And actually, I built great relationship with them once I knew who I was, because in the beginning, I didn't really know who I was. And I think that made me really anxious, like the whole drinking stuff and all that. But once I knew what I stand upon, it just...
Wow.
It was...
So like how long, so you came to study for university, and then how long after that did you join Hillsong?
It was like 6 months, and then I joined Hillsong. So I was in there for like 3 years. But,
3 years, wow. And you were doing university at the time?
Along
with it?
Yeah.
Wow. And so was it, when you went to Hillsong, was it an instant like, oh my goodness, my life has changed? Or was it like a transitional within church?
At the moment, like the second that I walked in, it was like something's happening. I felt like, oh wow, that's a pivot point. Is that a word?
Yeah. Pivot.
Yeah. So, but after that, it took a while, you know, like getting plugged into church and starting to serve, and then slowly realizing why am I serving? That was really important, because at the beginning I was doing it for the fun. But after that, when uni assignments came, because I was working throughout uni, when I was working and I didn't have time, and I realized that I still need to prioritize serving, that clicked, and that, like, I think it's just God changing your heart. And it doesn't happen in an instant. It happens slowly, and he reveals to you why he wants us to do some certain things. Wow. And it's amazing. I don't know.
Did you grow up, it was a side question, did you grow up a Christian?
No.
You weren't raised, okay.
No.
So you said, like, even when you were back in Bulgaria going for those dances and things like that, there was a part of you just didn't
That's
feel like...
That's the craziest part. Yeah, it was just, God was protecting me, because I never felt like I belonged in that. I always tried to, like, fit in somehow, but I always knew that it wasn't for me.
That's crazy, right? Like, how...
It is crazy.
Because when we look back at life, like, even for me, like, even though I was raised a Christian, I was thinking that, I'm supposed to go a certain way or go the way my parents are very devout Christians, by the way. And I thought my life is going to go the way their life was going.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. God's always got a plan, even within Christianity. So for you to say that, I was, not raised a Christian, but to know that, what, God's been protecting me all this time.
It's crazy when you look back at certain, even not your life, but certain seasons, you're like, aha, wow. That's what you were doing. It's crazy.
Wow. And was there any, so since we're on the topic of, like, culture shock, was there something that was really, like, significantly different in the UK? In the UK that you were like, whoa, I can't get used to that kind of thing.
I think it's, well, I was in London, so it's not very British. It's not the most British town. It's just living in a huge city, in a metropolitan. Yeah, that's a hard word. Let's pretend that I said it right. Yeah. But it's like the whole pace of life. It's crazy, and also you realize how lonely a lot of people are, even though it's packed with people. It's crazy. And our pastors back in London, they always said, like, just get plugged into the community, because otherwise the city's gonna just eat you and destroy you, because it's a very hard city to live in. You really have to work a lot, and I think that, like, the pace of life was one of the things, and also the lack of nature, really, because in Bulgaria, I'm used to, like, since I was little, every single weekend we went to the mountains, and in London you need, like, 4 hours to get out of London, so it's kind of
like the mountain is impossible. Like one tall building. You're like,
yep. Exactly.
No, but I feel like what you touched on, because I've been to UK, and, like, I've and gone to London. I've seen that, like, people just, everyone's, like, super, what do you say? Like, everyone's polite, and like when they see you say good morning and things like that. But I feel like it's a very surface level.
It
like,
is.
That's
it is.
it. And
definitely, British people have that they would be so nice to you, but like when it gets to, like, real stuff, like real relationship, you get to that level a lot harder. Wow. For sure. But yeah.
Yeah, and what was that one thing about you that was so Bulgarian that stood out amongst, like, your friends?
I think it's not just Bulgarians, but any, like, if you're a certain nationality and you move away, nothing's gonna shock you as much as how much you miss your food. Oh, it's just that one thing that it's just you just miss it, and everything else, because people are people. You're gonna find the people that you want to be with anywhere. Like, it doesn't matter, like, nationalities or whatever. At the core, we're the same. But food, well, that's another story. It's just, But I got my little packages from Bulgaria with lutenice and sirene. Oh. And my life was good.
How would you say it? What is the English for lutenice? It's like puree, is it? No,
puree. No. Lutenice is of its own. Like,
I know. We put it in sandwiches and stuff. It's like, it's so good. And sirene is cheese, guys. It's cheese.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
We've got a lot of people from, like, other areas, so just like, guys. But what else I wanted to ask you? Yeah, so like other than that, was there any like character, like what do you say, behavior wise, character wise, that was very Bulgarian about you, like other than food or like, do you know what, like for me, in case like being an Indian, like I cannot buy expensive stuff. Like I go for the cheapest thing. Like that's one Indian thing about me. Like being anywhere, that's gonna come out. Like was there anything that was like character wise or anything like that? Like that was.
Yeah. When you told me that we're gonna talk about that, I thought about it and I was like, well, no, not really, because I feel like I don't know. I can't say that I have Bulgarian traits. And to be honest, I'm not really sure if I know what exactly the Bulgarian traits are, because since I was very little, we've traveled a lot. I was very blessed to be traveling to a lot of countries. And I don't know. I think I don't have that filter that I see the Bulgarian in people, the Indian in people, the whatever. So I'm really cheap like you. I hate buying stuff that is not on sale. So it's, I don't know.
We should go to thrift shop together.
Yes, I love that.
I love that. Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, that's awesome. What else? So I wanted to ask, when you came back to Bulgaria, what was some of the stuff that you brought
back with me?
Yeah, back with you.
I would say the pace. I like here, it doesn't matter if it takes me an hour to get somewhere or 10 minutes. I'm going to be rushing there. I told you on my way back, on my way to here to record, I was running and I came in early as always, but it's just, I'm used to like go. And, and also I get really annoyed that's one thing. It's really silly, but I get really annoyed how people don't know, elevator. No. What is it called? Escalator etiquette, you know, in the UK, for example.
Oh, you move to the side.
Yes. Why don't you do that? Like, people are rushing, but
you know, I have to say I'm guilty, because in Bahrain, you don't have that escalator etiquette. But then I went to UK and I saw, I was like, this is amazing. If you all stand on one side, everyone can go. Yeah. So now I do that when I'm here. Like, after I went to the UK. It was only after. But in Bahrain, where I was raised, like, it's like, whatever. They'll just find a way.
It's a silly thing, but yeah, when you're used to something, like it's the little things that you see the difference in, but it doesn't really matter when you think about it.
And this is the deal breaking question: which place is better?
Well, I think that it's any place has its own positives and negatives, of course. Most times, to be honest, I think they're kind of the same. Like Bulgaria has the same or similar issues with politics and I don't know, infrastructure and all these things that people are complaining about over here. If you go into a taxi, you'd know.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But it's the same in the UK. People are complaining about the NHS and stuff, but it is what it is. Like I think life is kind of what you make it. So the reason that I came back here was just, it wasn't because I thought that the UK sucked and I love Bulgaria. I do love both places, but I felt that my place was here for now, that I need to do something here. So yeah, I don't think there is the best place.
Oh, and I think that for me, community is what
it is. Exactly. It's all about community. That was one of the things that I was really scared when I was moving back. I was like, I have this community now and I need to build my whole life from the ground up again. But it's, God takes care of that for sure.
Do you feel like maybe in the future you might go back?
To be honest, I feel like at this point, I feel like, maybe because I'm a very family oriented person. So I'm that person that dreams of having like a little house with children running around in the backyard and stuff. And I feel like that's much more possible for me in Bulgaria than in the UK. So, for example, in the UK, buying a house, all of that, it's just crazy.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Good. That's insane. Like, do you feel like now that you are, would you say like you're in the season of like figuring yourself out, or like?
Definitely. I thought, to be honest, when I was moving, I was like, okay, I give myself by the end of the summer, I'm going to have everything figured out. And actually a month ago, I moved, 2 months ago, I moved out of my, flat that I rented when I moved here. And I changed my career path completely to like nonprofit. And that changed everything except from community, thank God. But yeah, I think you're constantly changing, and I'm never like, now I've accepted that I'm never gonna get to that point where I'm like, okay, I have it figured out now. I'm sure people, even with families and stuff, it's still the same. You're learning to be a parent, you're learning how to be a wife or a husband or whatever. So I think it's constantly getting out of your comfort zone. And when it applies to culture, it's about trying to get to know people. And the more you get to know people, to get out of your comfort zone, to actually know people, you'll understand how absolutely the same we are.
Yeah, that's the honest truth, that people like, I think surface level, the difference in the way we talk maybe, or the way we look. Yeah. But other than that, the basic core rules.
It is the same. It is the same. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, is there something that you want to, like, okay, culture-wise, okay, something about Bulgarians or something about, like, British people, like, you're like, okay, it would be better if it's like this.
It'd be better.
Yeah.
I hate repeating myself, but once again, I think maybe it's because I've been surrounded by a lot of different types of Bulgarians.
Yeah.
So I can't really get one kind of trait that it's in everyone, like in every single Bulgarian or in every single Brit. But, maybe just, I've been thinking about that just, and we've been talking about that in church, just to get that heaven culture in us, not Bulgarian, not British, not whatever, just like the kindness and light of God.
That's great.
And yeah,
and you were saying something about what Andrea said, right? Do you want to repeat
what was
it?
I loved what our lovely pastor Andrea said. I'm not quoting it because I don't remember it like word by word, but it was something like that. Our identity doesn't come from our nationality, where we come from, what our parents taught us or whatever, but it comes from Christ. And it's so true because, for my life in the beginning, I found my identity in dancing. Yeah. Then I found it in like what I studied and everything else. Or now a lot of people, the first thing when you meet someone, the first thing that they're going to ask you is, where are you from? And what do you do? And it's crazy because there are a lot of more important stuff that you can ask me than what do I do? Wow. Like I'm passionate about my job, but like, So I loved what she said, and
that's amazing. Like, even I remember sitting when she was listening to the sermon, I was like, man, that's amazing.
Right.
And when you said that to me today, it was like you reminded me of, how important that it is to, especially like nowadays, like during the quarantine period, like I'm sure for you as well, like we've been reaching out to people and like, because you're like, getting back to talking to some friends that I haven't talked before and things. So like really asking them questions that is just not surface level questions anymore, like tell me about your life, So for me, I didn't know you were a dancer, and I'm like, I should have asked those questions. So.
I'm sure that now we're gonna talk for like 3 more hours.
So dance, huh? I love that. But that was amazing, Maggie. Like, thank honestly, you so like much. Your life is heard in your voice. Like, when she walked in through the door, guys, like, she's so cute. Like, she's so cute and beautiful. By the way, Bulgarians, like I've always said, Bulgarians are like the most gorgeous people the Bulgarian girls, are you kidding me? Like, are the finest.
I'm not gonna say anything about that.
And Maggie, you're on top. You're on top, girl. Like, so thank you so much for like taking your time and
thank you
and talking to us. All our listeners. But again, I just want to wish you all the best for your life. And I know you said you are on this figuring out journey, and I'm sure God's gonna lead you in the path that you have to go. Thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you do. It's amazing and so encouraging for a lot of people. So thank you. But that's that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening again. So, like I always say, just stay blessed, guys. Drink a lot of lemon juice and wash your hands during this quarantine period. Yeah, so keep smiling. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.